everyone, and welcome to Inspiration Morning Live, number, it should say 112, but it's 111. I want to say thank you for being here today. This is my 112th episode. Now, I have cut down a little bit, and I want to say, thank you for, still following and still watching. Used to do 5 days a week. I've cut it down to 2 days a week. And that is just because, with fall and with the holidays coming, schedules change. And it kind of comes down to what I'm talking about today. And, what I'm talking about today came from a conversation I had this morning with my sister. And, we were talking about, ending the year strong, pushing forward and getting things done. And then, it kind of comes down to, getting what you want. And I know that seems so I want to dig into the part of getting what you want of, when you're going into something new and when resistance pops up and when you're going into something new, which means all of what you expected before. I'm going to talk about like my coloring book business. I knew that I needed to learn a lot. I had never done anything quite like it before. And so I went into it, and I've done some, and I've done okay. And now that I'm learning even more, and I found a different type of mentor, and I found some different coaching, I realized that, wow, I did a lot of things wrong, but I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I did. I'm glad I made the books, and now I know how to make my books even better. But getting what I wanted, getting that business going, before you start something, there's the glamour of it, there's the fun of it, there's the expectation you want at the end, and you want to go through the work, but sometimes the work is very different than what you see the outcome as being. Got something in my eye. So that's kind of what I want to talk about. I think we all are willing to do the work, and we all have a picture in our mind of what the work is. But I think when you're going into something brand new, that work ends up being a lot different than what you felt. And it's not bad. I think that's part of resistance. I think that's part of resistance popping up. And I love The War of Art, which is an amazing book. And it's not just about art that it talks about. I think there's many things in life that The War of Art talks about. And there are so many amazing examples in there that it's worth reading the book. It's worth, looking inside of yourself in the psychology that comes out of that book. Though it's not a psychology book. It's a book about, resistance and getting ourselves through it and beyond it. And what our mind pops up and makes resistance. Now, it may be patterns that you've had before. It may be, it may be, things in the past that you've, I don't know how to totally express it. I want to say good morning and thank you for joining me. I'm also looking on my screen and things are a little, I use Be Live, and sometimes that always doesn't work as well as I would like it to. And so I do have to make some adjustments. But I want to say that, in getting what you want, there is always, sometimes we get into things and we find that, this isn't right for me. This isn't what I thought it was. And I need to make the adjustment and change. And I think that that's okay. As long as it's not resistance popping up. In getting what we want, we have to be willing to also give others what they want. And that is one of the things that we forget. We don't always think about it. It's a give and take. It's a give, a give-get type. It's not always a give-get type of response. As long as we're giving to others, we can then get to ourselves. And I know I forget that all the time. But it's really at the heart of things. If you're truly giving to someone, you get more in return. And in getting what you want, I think that's the biggest, one of the biggest points. And that's one of the things it's kind of unspoken. And I think it's what I know I forget all the time. And if I forget it all the time, then I know that many other people do too. And what do you do to remind yourself of that? Because I know that I look at people who seem to have so much, and yet they give so much and they do so much. I'm like, where do you find the time? But then I realize when you're giving, it does snowball. It does get bigger. It does build upon itself. And for lack of a better word, you're building good karma. And though there are some people who give, and they don't get what they want. And I don't know whether it's resistance. I don't know what that is, but I know that within myself, the thing that I know that I need to go back to is giving. I know the times in my life when I got exactly what I wanted is, remember, when I asked for it. I asked for what I wanted, and I realized, I don't know who taught me it, or maybe it was my dad. Hi, Miss Millie Kids, that you don't get what you want if you don't ask for it. You're never going to get what you want. And I think, whether we feel deserving or undeserving, or whether we can do that, whatever our emotional baggage is that we're pulling into it, we can put our game faces on. We don't have to let people know it. And we can ask for what we want. And we can figure out how to get what we want. And think of like in your job, you're doing work. You're doing work for others. You're giving to them, and in return, you're getting your paycheck. When I make my books, I give people, the art color that gives them joy, that gives them, stress relief, that gives them a way to escape, that, gives them, that time in their day to do something they enjoy. That's what I'm giving in return. They buy my books, and then they buy more. And in the past 2 months, I've been building up my own website, ChristinaCrowley.com. And I've been giving away some free images. And I realized that, I can make those images even better. I can give even more. I can make them better. I can make them more of what people want. And then I can change them out from time to time. And once I realize how to give to others, I get what I want. And, I think it's something we all know. But it's great to be reminded of that from time to time. And I got reminded of that. I get reminded of that. And I'm very appreciative that I did. And so that's what I wanted to talk about today. I want to say thank you for being here. I want to say thank you for those of you who are watching. I really appreciate that you watch. I appreciate the thumbs up. I appreciate I appreciate everything when you come and when you watch, and those of you who share, I appreciate that too. And I really want you to know that, because I do Inspiration Morning. I make the memes because I think we all need a little and then to go push into your motivation, to give you some action. And I know I've talked about, I don't know if it's lately or if it's just the last one, that, in my Twitter bio, I have, I believe in the law of attraction with action, because I believe that we can't be anything without action on our own, and to push us forward. Good morning. Thank you for joining me here live today. Appreciate the thumbs up, the hearts. In getting what you want, it's truly within us. It's truly how we feel about ourselves. Sometimes we have to put our game face on. And I put my game face on all the time. I know when I first started these, I had to put my game face on because I was terrified. But this is what I wanted our community to grow into. I wanted our community to grow into a little bit more sharing, a little bit more of, what it is now. The memes, the lives, also putting on the Go After Your Passion lives. And, Teresa had a great talk with, Ms. Brookman last week. I can't remember her first name. And I still get a little bit nervous, and I forget things. And that's what happens to me when I get nervous, is I do forget a few things. But, I want you to have a great weekend and think about getting what you want. And if you're not getting what you want, figure out what the resistance is, because it's all within resistance, I think. And I've had to rework that and getting what I want, and moving forward and making changes in my life. And is it resistance, or do I really need to make a change? Have I really made a mistake? Is resistance showing me that, or is resistance just making me scared? And so go out this weekend, have a wonderful weekend, get what you want. I will be back on Monday or Tuesday. I'm not sure what my schedule allows at the moment, but I really appreciate you being here, and I want to say thank you. I appreciate all your comments. I appreciate hearing from you, and I would love to know what you would like me to speak more about. Today it's getting what you want. And I do talk a lot about resistance. Do you want to hear more about resistance? It's a subject that I find fascinating. And, in looking back in my life, and the more I read about resistance, I'm like, yeah, that is the issue for a lot of people. And we don't even know it, because you don't know what you don't know. And I like talking about that too. And then I also realize there's some things I don't know that I don't know, and that's why I'm bucking up against the wall. That's why resistance is getting me in the face. And please feel free to share this Facebook Live if you find that there has been value in it, and if you feel this has been helpful, and that somebody needs to know a little bit more about resistance, a little bit more about giving to be getting, to get what you want. I do feel that there's a real, true connection there. And, I would love to give more of what you would like to know about. Alrighty. So I look forward to seeing you on my next Facebook Live. Alrighty. Bye-bye.